back. We're here once again on ESN for the return of the AWSCO Snapdragon Continental Series as the circuit now moves back onto the speedways here in Joliet, Illinois. Obviously a suburb of Chicago. Here at Chicagoland Speedway for the Rate 300. We're here at the 1.5 mile speedway, one of the many cookie cutter tracks that exist in the U.S. that was built up over the boom of stock car racing in decades past. Although this one has one striking feature that separates it from the rest of the pack. Obviously, it's that slightly curved backstretch that you'll see here in due time. It's whereas most speedways will have a flat backstretch. This one, the one at Chicago here, is slightly curved, which helps these drivers, which will help these drivers maintain higher speeds outside on corner exit off of 2 and into turn 4. So I think this is gonna be so I think we're gonna be seeing some more of that exciting AWSCO speedway racing that we've seen consistently so far this season. Obviously the Continental Series hasn't been at a 1.5 mile speedway for a while now. I think our last one was Charlotte, pretty much. And the last one with a quad oval might have been all the way back in Kansas, so it has been a very long time here in either series, really. So definitely excited to see out the return of the Continental Series to a bigger track once again. Once again, joined here for the pre-race show in the studio with Ellie. It's, well, last time out. Sorry. I should say, last time out, of course, we were at New Hampshire, which was a flat mile oval, very different kind of track. We've seen plenty of racing on lighter banked ovals before, but now we're at Chicagoland, which is, well, I don't think it's the highest banked one, of particularly high bank speedway, but there's plenty of banking to it, and there's a lot of and I think we'll be seeing a lot of multi-groove racing here, which is something we definitely didn't see at New Hampshire. Cars moving up and down the track, finding momentum. That's a pretty typical feature of Chicagoland. So that's something we haven't seen in a while, I think. So I think these drivers are gonna have a fun time trying to find out the optimal lanes throughout the run. Obviously, we've seen some of this during practice, but this is all gonna have to come together in the race for these drivers.
Yeah, and I just want to say this track is really fun to watch. Usually, I think this is going to be a good race. Given the races I've seen on this track have always been very entertaining, and I think we're going to get a good show out of our drivers here. They're going to be moving all over the track to get a good, position strategy down. Sometimes the high lane will work better for you, more towards like the later half of this track. Typically, we've seen drivers get decent passing around there, so I think this will be a fun watch, and we haven't had an oval like this in a while, a really long while. This is over a mile and a half, so I think it'll be very fun to watch.
I mean, yeah, Chicagoland is pretty fun to watch, especially if the cars are able to run around each other relatively closely. That's something that NASCAR themselves struggled with in the last few years they were racing here at Chicagoland. But I think we've struck a good balance here in AWSCO with that kind of racing. So I'm hoping to see some of that, some of the potential that this track has. Some of the potential that this track has will be further unlocked, I think, today. We'll be seeing quite a few drivers moving around the track, trying to find different lanes, and all in all, just kind of running close to each other. And that's the kind of racing we want to see here at the, in general in AWSCO. I should also mention that the backstretch is not only curved, but it's also slightly banked. It's got a 5-degree banking, which is pretty pretty decent banking there. So that'll help these drivers just keep that momentum more. So this will be a pretty fast running race. I think these drivers are probably going to hit some pretty quick lap times, even compared to other speedway tracks.
Yeah, that banking's really going to help the drivers maintain speed on those turns there, and I think the speed here that we're gonna see, the very raw speed we're gonna see here, is possibly one of the most entertaining bits, given this tri-oval usually is ran really, really fast, and we're gonna see a lot of interesting strategy out from those turns there. I think it's gonna be a very, very competitive, very fast, very strategy-based race that we kind of haven't seen in a while. We've seen strategy-based, but not in the type of strategy you're going to need to maintain a speed here. We haven't really seen that in recent Continental Series races, so I'm pretty excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah. I mean, another thing we'll be taking an eye on, especially in the race, is the track surface itself. It is fairly abrasive. I don't think it's been repaved since this track was first built in the early 2000s. So obviously a bit of age on that racing surface, which will mean that tire wear is going to be a bit of a challenge for these drivers. We've seen tire wear be a concern on some tracks here. We've obviously seen the example of Aguascalientes. Let's say even California Speedway, the big 2-mile oval out there in Fontana. Those are two tracks that have a similar, that are kind of, I want to say, similarly built in the sense that they have fairly aged surfaces that are rather abrasive and will pose a challenge to the tire for the tire life of these cars, and that's going to be, I think, the primary concern for these drivers today. Just being able to manage that tire wear and kind of work your way around that strategy-wise, and making sure you don't lose too much time out there on the racetrack. Assuming that we do get a green flag, we do start getting green flag pit stops coming in, because especially early on, I think there's going to be a little bit of a danger factor to the race here, given how close cars have been. We've seen cars running in practice. I think there's definitely a level of danger posed by some of the early runs we might have here, with cars potentially running into each other, which is I'd say pretty normal for the speedway races we've had here in AWSCO.
Yeah, that's pretty standard by now. I think they're definitely gonna have to look out for that during this start. First 5 to 10 laps, I think, are going to be very risky, and I think there's not going to be many drivers who play it safe, but I think the tire wear here is going to make this even more interesting, given some of our ovals haven't had the worst tire wear. Some of them have had pretty decent tire wear and made for a really interesting show, but I think with how high the tire wear here is at this track, I think it's going to be very fun to pay attention to the pit cycles. Once we get beyond like if there's ever a yellow pit cycle, I think the green pit cycles will get very interesting, and I think that'll kind of lean us more towards watching for pit strategy and tire wear management, and I think that'll be very fun. And I know there's some drivers out there on the higher rows who've been very good at maintaining their tires and kind of getting a good strategy down on when to pit, and I think that'll be what makes this race very special.
Yeah, looking at our starting lineup here, bit of a surprise up front with Ashley Johnson on pole. Been on a bit of a skid in the last month or so. Hasn't had a top 10 since. What's this? This was all the way back. Wow. Okay. It's been a while since Ashley Johnson has had a top 10. Let me double check. I think it was Sonia Stosh. Yeah, Sonia Stosh, and I think she had a top 5 at Charlotte. So it's been a while since we've seen the 24 run particularly well. Last time around that time we were talking about the 24 as a potential playoff car, but she's dropped way off now because of these last few races. Struggled to qualify for some of them, struggled to run well in others. But she's here on the front row alongside Zoe Quinton, who is her teammate Zoe Quinton. Obviously, that team's had a real resurgence in the last few weeks. Or in the last few weeks, we've seen her and the 82 team take that car to victory lane. Not too long ago, One Enterprise locking the front row out here. And after that, you have a Toyota sweep of row 2 with Reina Munoz and Izzy Oberman. Oberman, obviously, with those 3 wins, including one at California, another strategy-heavy race that we mentioned earlier. Reina Munoz winning at another one of our short tracks earlier this season. And then the rest of the top 10, we have Davenport, Shastina, Andresen, Roberts, Brosseau, and Willis Callaway. Looking at those two Ponos Racing cars back in the top 10 again. Those two Ponos Racing cars qualified back in the top 10 again. I'd say pretty common sight seeing those two there now. They've been putting good shouts at trying to get another win for that team in the last few races, especially Bridget Brosseau, who's been on a pretty good roll ever since she took over that 46 car with 4 top 10s in that second place finish in our previous race at New Hampshire. You think the driver of the 46 car there? Do you think that's a driver that we might want to take a look at here? I don't think she obviously hasn't run a race. I don't think she's run a race at a 1.5 mile track yet, but she's run well wherever we've taken the Continental Series to, and it does look like that 46 team is potentially knocking on the door of another win, and one that would put Bridget Brosseau in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think she's a driver we're going to be watching for sure. I think she's definitely going to be a very top contender. I know we haven't really seen her on a track like this, I think, at all yet, but...
I mean, the first race was Michigan, but Michigan is a very different track, regardless.
Yeah. I would say that Brosseau is a very interesting driver to watch, especially recently. She's been running really well on pretty much every track we put her on. So I think here we might see a different side of how she drives, how she strategizes, what her tire management is, how she manages her pit cycles. I think it'll be interesting to watch her. I think she's going to be a very high top contender, top 5 pretty easily. I think it'll be a pretty interesting race to watch because of the kind of setup we have with our Fast 10 here.
Yeah, watch out for Tristina as well in the 6 car. That number 6 Toyota Supra has been running very well alongside the 46 of Brosseau. Tristina has a handful of top 15 finishes already to start her career in the Continental Series, so that's another driver to look out for that's been running really well. Looking at our chase for the money drivers, looking at our chase for the money drivers, most of them are starting up at the front. Is this correct? Yes. Okay. Just looking at these drivers, Cara Reynolds is the big exception. She is starting on the outside of row 16, way down there in the way down there in 32nd place. Obviously, the only one of the chase for the money driver starting out back there. Although I'd say this, this might not be too big of a concern at this track in particular, given the opportunities to move up the field. There are going to be many opportunities for drivers starting out slightly further back to move up through the pack. It's definitely the 95, both of the Appalachia cars seem to be saving some of their stuff for the race later on. Abby Buchanan once again starting on the final row. She's made a habit of running well after starting out back. So that 59 team hasn't qualified particularly well, but has raced. Their race pace is very good considering those circumstances. Looking at the other notables in the field, obviously we have the new driver of the number 54, Michaela Kirkland, making her debut in that Ozark Motorsports machine. She starts alongside Carl Reynolds on the uh, on the inside of row 16. So 31st place. Good luck to her on her AWSCO debut. Looking forward to see what her what's in store for her career. She's impressed in some other series as well. Running Chevys in another running Chevys there as well. The drivers from this particular agency seem to be a big track merchant. So that's definitely another driver to look out for. Potentially at this track, maybe at our next super speedway at Pensacola. All right. With that, any final comments on our starting lineup here, Ellie?
Other than it looks very interesting with Ashley Johnson finally making a top 10 again, and Naomi Davenport is running really good in qualifying here, so I think it'll be interesting to watch everybody battle it out.
Yeah, obviously. It's been a while since we've seen stock car racing here at Chicagoland, so hopefully these drivers put on a good show for everyone, as the AWSCO Continental Series here is just about ready to start racing here at Chicagoland. We'll take you over to the booth now, where Echo and Liam will be bringing you commentary from the Rate 300 here. I've been Rasha on behalf of Ellie. We'll see you guys later for the mid-race report, and see you there.
All right, and welcome to the Chicagoland Speedway here in Joliet, Illinois. We're about 45 minutes outside of downtown Chicago for the Rate 300, a 300-mile, 200-lap race here from the Chicagoland Speedway. This track has held quite a few notable events. NASCAR Cup Series used to race here. NASCAR Cup Series used to race here. The IndyCar Series used to race here. And now the AWSCO Continental Series is coming here for the third leg of the Chase for the Money Tour. I'm joined by Liam, who seems like when they show up in Continental can only really commentate these mile-and-a-half tracks. Hello, Liam. How you doing?
Hi, Echo. Yeah, I'm back again for another intermediate track, and Chicagoland's a unique one. It was mentioned in the pre-race show, that curved backstretch. There is no straight lines on this track. Drivers are going to be turning 360 degrees this entire race, 200 laps of it. Should be a real technical show for the cars, and should be a good run.
Yeah, and a surprising front row development here as well. Ashley Johnson managing to snag the pole. That was fairly surprising for a lot of people. Zoe Quinton, not really that surprising. Up there at the front, Quinton's been doing very good in that 82 car ever since she took it over. But this is certainly going to be an interesting race. You got 5 drivers in that Chase for the Money. Do you think that these drivers go for the win first or the cash prize first in this one? We've kind of questioned this a couple times already, but do you think these drivers go for the win first or the cash prize first?
I think the main goal of a race is obviously to win. So the drivers are going to be going for first place as their first order of business. If they can get to the front, the goal is to stay there. If they can't get to the front, the goal is to stay ahead of their Chase for the Money competitors. So it's all going to depend on where that lead Chase for the Money car is. If it's competing for the lead, then everyone's got to compete for the lead. If it's not competing for the lead and nobody is, they're all going to be fighting each other in the mid-pack, while the leaders continue to fight for the front of the race.
All right, let's get our starting grid here from the Chicagoland Speedway. In row 1, it's Ashley Johnson sitting on the pole for this race alongside the 82 Zoe Quinton, one of the Chase for the Money competitors. She finished 3rd last week in New Hampshire, and she won 3 weeks ago in at Five Flags in Pensacola. Row 2 is Rada Munoz and Izzy Overman, 2 drivers with wins this season. Row 3, Naomi Davenport on the 22 and the 6 of Mila Tristina. Row 4 is the 35, Krista Andresen, who finished second last week. No, she finished 4th last week, in New Hampshire. 5th last week, She's alongside the 45 of Liz Roberts. Row 5, the 46, Bridget Brousseau finished second last week in New Hampshire alongside the 99 of Karina Willis-Callaway. Row 6, the 44, Lulu Connie, back for another race alongside the 78 of Lexi Rockwood. Row 7 is the 12, Jackie Kennedy, who won the Chase for the Money last week, and because she finished third in New Hampshire, she gets to go for it again this week. She's alongside the 4 of Cassidy Jones. Row 8 is the 8 of Kate Summers and the 5 of Maya Shelby, two drivers that have had some good hot streaks this season. Row 9, Daytona winner Freya von Lundquist alongside the 11 Takamoto Aya. Row 10 is the 40 of Laura Sundale and the 64 of Mayumi Moriyama. Row 11, the 81 Alice Hageman and the 0 of Hieta Yoko. Row 12, the 10 of Charlie McCarron and the 65 of Latanya Gray. McCarron still recovering from that injury last week in New Hampshire, but she has indicated that she wants to run the full race. Eli is standing by on the pit box in the case that McCarron needs to step out of the car. Row 13, the 88 Madison Estrada and the 60 of Jennifer Wilson. Row 14 is the 96 of Lynn Oswell and the 25 Kathy Ableton Perez. Row 15, the 04 of Emilie Tremblay-Vaudrey and the 2 of Rachel Ramos. Row 16, the 54 Michaela Kirkland making her Continental Series debut alongside the 95 of Cara Reynolds, who's one of those Chase for the Money drivers. She won last week in New Hampshire. Row 17, the 55 of Deborah Williams and the 14 of Katrin Edelstein. Row 18, the 62 of Vinnie Schultz and the 66 Ani Starchev. And row 19, the 59 of Abby Buchanan and the 38 of Isabella Fitzmaurice. So, with the engines having been fired, Liam, what do you expect from this one, and what's going to be the big key to this race?
I mean, Chicagoland's one of those intermediate tracks where you can win from any spot on the racetrack. The high lane's strong, the bottom lane's strong. If you've got enough speed, you can hold it in the middle as well. So we're going to see really, really strong strategic multi-groove racing. If we get long green flag runs, pit stops are going to be key. But it's going to be a matter of knowing when to block, where to block, and to do it safely. And that should be the key to winning the race.
All right. Pace car's off. We're about to get to the green flag here in Chicagoland. Here we go.
Pretty even restart for both of those cars on the front row. Still side by side into turn 1.
That's the thing, is you're going to see that the top lane's a little bit stronger here, but you can fight on the inside if you really want to. Quentin just can't get clear of Johnson there. She'll get the momentum off of turn number 4, though. And Zoe Quinton leads the first lap here from Chicagoland.
3 wide further back in the field, and Zoe Quinton's got a real nice gap over the rest of the pack for that lead, as they are going to go maybe 3 wide for second if the 7 gets a dive to the inside, which she does not.
Is the thing that was that they wanted adjusted at this track. They wanted the inside and the outside to both be able to make moves, and you see there the 24 got passed on the outside, and now you see Izzy Oberman's gotten around the 24 of Johnson on the inside lane. So I would say the task has been pretty well completed as Johnson continues to slip back in the 24. She looks to the inside on Munoz now for the 3rd position. But Zoe Quinton got the jump on the start, and she is out front on the first lap of the race here in Chicago, in the first few laps of the race here in Chicagoland. Here comes Mila Chestina trying to fight with Reina Munoz for 3rd as the 6 car got a really big run. Izzy Oberman's Izzy Oberman's up to 2nd as well, and she's starting to close in on Quinton here just a little bit.
We'll see if she can follow that 82 into the corners, get that draft, and maybe try and make a push for the lead, as Justina in the 6 car is closing on that 2nd position.
Cheshina's really making moves here. Justina looked to the inside, but decided against it. And the 93 is closing up on the 82. And the 6 is closing up on both of them as Justina gets the run off turn number 4. And she tries to make the dive into turn 1.
That high lane is stronger, so we'll see if she can hang on to that advantage she had into the corner. It doesn't look like she's going to get it out of the corner, though, as the 93 is going to hang on the top lane.
How about Lexi Rockwood making her way up to the 5th spot right now? She's fighting right behind Reina Munoz, and keep in mind that the top 5 at the end of this race will be eligible for next week's Chase for the Money, the Chase for the Money finale at Echo Energy International Speedway, that brand new track in Surrey, British Columbia. Lexi Rockwood right now putting herself in a position not only to make that, but she would also be locked in to that race if she's able to qualify.
Yeah, for a team like Project Horizon Racing, who doesn't usually have both cars making races. We saw Robin Morales didn't qualify for this race despite having a win earlier in the season. A team like that, having the opportunity to lock into a race is really great for not only their point situation, but also just continuing to run every week as a 2-car operation.
Justina's still trying to get underneath Oberman. That time held much better through the mid corner.
Looks like they're still going to be side by side into turn 3. 93 with the advantage. She is going to get clear, and both of them are closing really quickly on that 82 car.
Yeah, but the 6 car really got a good exit. I think that's something I'm starting to notice, that bottom lane, that the top lane's a little better in 1 and 2, but the bottom lane kind of gets a better exit in 3 and 4. These two continue to fight side by side, and they both continue to close in on Quinton. It's going to be a 3-car battle for the lead. As Justina's trying to get by both of them.
Quinton's still clear for the lead right now, but it's looking like it's about to be a 3-car battle, and if these, 4th through 7th drivers can get a hold of it, they might be able to reel their way in as well.
And how about the most recent couple to grace this field? Lulu Connie and Karina Willis-Callaway, both in the top 10. Lulu's been much better after she announced her engagement to Karina Willis-Callaway, and she ran top 10 last week in New Hampshire for a good chunk of the race. She didn't finish there, but she did run in the top 10. Karina Willis-Callaway last week kind of got hurt by being involved in an incident.
Lulu's been running on those good vibrations, and we're going to see if she can be able to keep the good times rolling here. She's running well so far today.
Our director got a chuckle out of that one. Justina is still there on Oberman. Remember that Justina and Oberman are teammates, so those two are... While these two are fighting for position, that is also something that they gotta be careful with each other here. Justina looks to the high side now. And she's going to try to power around the outside of Oberman. And I think that's the thing, as the tire life goes away, the high lane's going to get better and better as the run goes on, and Justina's showing it right there. Justina is able to get by and get clear of Oberman, finally, for the second spot.
If there's anybody that's going to be happy about this battle for second, it is the driver of that 82 car. She's in the lead. She doesn't really need to push the car very much because those two are battling behind her and unable to really catch up to her rear bumper. So long as they keep using their stuff up, she's in a great position being out front for when the tires do eventually wear out really hard.
Yeah, but Justina's really fast right now. Justina has the fastest lap of anybody right now. The NordVPN fastest lap is Mila Justina's right now. And the other thing as well to point out about Justina is she's been really good as of late. She's managed to be even better in this 6 car than than the previous driver, Alexa Kuma, was. She's actually driven this car all the way up to second in the owner standings, chasing only the 10 of Charlie McCarron, who sits back in 29th right now. And Justina is closing. And now they're side by side.
Look at that.
How sweet. How sweet. I'm afraid Von Lundquist is going to try to break them up. Bit of a buzzkill, don't you think?
Tell me about it.
How about Liz Roberts moved up to the 6th position? She kind of drove through most of this pack. She's climbed up and gotten up to the 7 of Munoz here.
Yeah, a car we really didn't talk about at the start of this race managed to break away from that group of cars further back and is now in contention with the 778. Well, these cars sort of hanging on near the leader, but not in lead contention.
I am kind of surprised. We've gone green this whole time in a lot of the tests that I did for this race. We didn't go green nearly this long on the opening run, so I am pretty surprised. Pleasantly surprised, though. As well as Callaway continuing to fight with Von Lundquist. But as this spreads out, and as the run goes longer and longer, that's when you start to wonder about taking care of the tires. Lexi Rockwood's up to 4th spot now. She's passed Rita Munoz, and she's starting to close in on the 93 of Oberman.
Look at the top to bottom move there. Who was that?
That was Abby Buchanan, I believe.
59. Abby Buchanan. She was up at the top, moved down past 2 cars on the inside, and managed to get clear of them over in turns 3 and 4 there.
Sure, there's Charlie McCarron. McCarron's still recovering from that injury that she sustained in New Hampshire, but I think she's doing relatively okay for being on kind of the recovery trend. And this is her home track, so she wants to perform here.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta hand it to her. Being put in a situation like that where you're not at 100% physically, but still want to compete for the hometown fans. Having a reserve driver on standby, but still coming in and starting the race to get those points is real inspiring feat. Just she's got to make sure to keep the car clean and get out when she feels uncomfortable. They might be 4 wide.
They're going 4 wide right here, yeah.
3 and 4 here. See how that works out coming to the front stretch. He tags the wall back to 3 wide.
It somehow wasn't anywhere near being calamity. Seeing the 99, Karina Liz Callaway's made her way up to 6th now, and Freya Von Lundquist trying to follow that 99 car. Naomi Davenport in the 22 car running top 10 again. Davenport has the most top 10s of anybody this season, and it's not even close. She has 10. The next most is Eliza Evergreen, who has 8, and Evergreen hasn't been running in the series since, since after Delaware. Evergreen, I think this is the craziest stat about Evergreen, is that after she got suspended, she still led the points for 4 weeks. So here comes Willis Callaway trying to get around Munoz. Munoz trying to fight back on the outside. But Willis Callaway is actually going to get clear and clear her on the inside lane.
Callaway clearing away and in the top 5.
And I think that's something that we've wanted to see at Chicagoland, where we didn't want the top to be the complete king lane here. You wanted a little bit of competitiveness from the bottom, and we're getting that.
As we saw the 6 try and make a move on the inside in 3 and 4, which we have sort of determined can be the stronger lane depending on what kind of run you get into that 3rd corner.
Willis Callaway just lost the position again to Munoz. And now here comes Liz Roberts.
A lot of action on the back of that top 5 right now.
We may have a battle for 3rd here developing pretty soon because Rockwood's closing in on Oberman. Justina's there on Quinton. Looks to make the
Inside
dive
on
to the
the front
inside.
stretch. Quentin uses the air to try and block. Gonna have the top lane advantage in turn 1 and 2, but it's pretty even coming to the exit of the corner.
A really good exit, really good job through the mid corner for Chistina, and she's gonna hold. She actually had a pretty solid exit too. Good enough to stick with the 82 here.
Side by side out of turn 4. They're gonna be side by side on the front straightaway.
There's the battle for the lead. Is Mila Chistina, the Czech driver, battling with Zoe Quinton, the driver from Colorado. Quinton trying to win that chase for the money. She wants that cash bonus. Her next competitor for that is Jackie Kennedy, who sits back in the 10th position, by the way. So that's the battle. That's where the battle is right now. You're seeing this 6 car is really, really quick right now.
6 cars really quick, but just can't get away past that 82. She throws the block again into turn 3. Great defensive work.
Well, for Chistina, this is, I guess, kind of a... If you want to go for it in a certain way, this could be kind of seen as a home track for Chistina, because there's a rather famous former mayor from Chicago who was Czech. I believe his name is... I don't remember his name, but I think it was Chermak. I don't remember his first name. Anton Chermak. And he was a Czech politician from that also served as the mayor of Chicago for quite a while, and he was pretty popular. And Chistina trying to become another Czech, another Czech with a lot of success in the Chicago area. She battles Quinton for the lead here.
Only in AWSCO are you going to get a reference to a Chicago mayor from the 1930s.
Well, it's not like in Mexico we didn't spend the entire time referencing the second French intervention, because the French drivers kept leading and winning. Oh, would you look at that? There they go. We're back to side by side.
Working together to try and pass the KFC car could be considered a chicken shop date for these two.
That's terrible.
That's really bad. I'm sorry. I'm trying too hard.
How about Kathy Ableton Perez in the 25 car? She's starting to make up some ground. Ableton Perez is up into the 12th position, battling with Kennedy for that. Now remember, Ableton Perez won just a couple weeks ago in Memphis. And she did it by leading exactly 1 lap. Ableton Perez is currently tied for the least laps led of anybody in the entire series right now that's run the full season.
A 1 lap is all you need to lead to win a race.
Yeah. She's only led 2 laps the entire season. The only other one she led was actually back in Nashville, which I believe had the most different leaders of any race we've had so far this season.
Nashville Superspeedway, a track that you could consider somewhat similar to Chicagoland in terms of layout. Obviously not the same curved backstretch that we got here, but
not even the same track surface.
No, but similar in shape compared to the other 1.5 mile tracks out there.
Yeah. Oh, we've missed the pass for the lead. Chistina finally got by Quinton. New leader out front here in Chicagoland. It is Mila Chistina, but Quinton's going to fight back.
Quinton's not going to give it up that easily. She's going to try the inside in 3 and 4 to try and take this lead back.
Yeah, but she just can't do it.
Is clear.
How about Freya von Lundquist, who's made her way up to 5th? Von Lundquist really hasn't had a lot of great runs lately, but she's managed to keep her spot on the points. She's 6th in the points, and she's only had one top 10 since South Boston, where she finished 8th in Aguascalientes. But she's managed to keep her position in the points for quite a while. And obviously Von Lundquist has the win at Daytona.
Later into this tire run, the field's going to continue to run single file. Passing, a great way to really knock a lot of rubber off of those tires.
Well, the other thing as well is, once we're going to get into that pit cycle, you know, the tires have worn out quite a bit. You're seeing that the tires are they're about a second off on their tire life. They're about a second off their fast laps on tires right now.
See a battle for the lead into turn 3 here.
That's only going to get worse as Quinton looks to the inside of Chistina. 3 wide over here. Kennedy, Connie, and Ableton Perez, and I believe Kennedy's going to get clear on the inside lane. That's not something I've seen work a lot here, is having the inside lane on 3 wide, but Kennedy did it.
Got down to the inside, made it stick. She drifts up to the middle off of turn 2 here, but gets passed on the outside by the 25 car.
Honestly, this has been great.
Yeah. Great multi-groove racing. I mentioned that before we went green, that really, if you get the right run, any lane can work at this track, and these drivers have shown that in bunches. So we go back and
Yeah, I want to go back and see the pass for the lead. Here was the pass for the lead. The 6 car gets to the outside, I believe, in turns 3 and 4. She just puts the power down.
Tried the inside again down the back straightaway. Didn't work. I think she's going to need to move to the outside if she wants to make that pass on these tires.
Karina and Lulu running together. Meanwhile, back here, there's Madison Estrada battling with pole sitter Ashley Johnson. And you got Cassidy Jones right here fighting with Deborah Williams, who won back at Charlotte. That's a pretty similar track to this one. Lots of tire wear. A pretty similar track. Charlotte has lots of tire wear. Multi-groove racing.
It's actually made of asphalt, unlike Nashville.
Yeah. Well, and also Nashville doesn't really have that tire wear aspect. 82's dropped way back. We see the fight for 4th is now brewing. Von Lundquist fighting with Rockwood.
Made that inside work in 3 and 4. She's going to be ahead at the line here, but we'll see if Rockwood can fight back on the outside in 1 and 2.
Oh, she just couldn't get to the outside. Justina's now starting to pull away from Quinton here. And I think that draft is kind of having a little bit of a play in keeping some of these cars around each other. Munoz in the 7 car. Gonna look underneath Liz Roberts here.
Besides the better of it.
How about Cassidy Jones in the 4 car? Having a pretty solid run. This is a run she's gonna need. She finished 6th last week in New Hampshire. Just missed out on getting into the chase for the money, but still looking pretty fast. Quinton and Tristina might honestly be quite fairly equal on the long run here. You're starting to see now that they're starting to lose a lot more lap time. They're starting to fall. They're almost 2 seconds off now. They'll probably drop about almost they'll probably drop to close to 3 seconds at the end of the tire run. And can you believe that that's not even going to be the most tire wear we see this weekend?
Definitely will not be. Cup Series, the Windows 11 Cup Series running at Twin Ring Motegi, or Mobility Resort Motegi as it's referred to nowadays. The track that was affected by the earthquake in 2011, that's why IndyCar stopped going, but AWSCO said track surface looks good enough for us, and they're going to run that old cracked track surface for quite the long race. We've seen in practice that it absolutely shreds tires, and that'll be an interesting thing to see the drivers try and compete with.
On the long tire runs, they were almost 5 seconds off their fast laps in practice. It was quite the show. I can only imagine what it'll look like in the race with all the tire strategy that's going to go on there. Cars splitting up a fair bit.
Approaching a quarter of the way through this race.
Quarter of the way through, caution free. How about that? That's something that I think a lot of people will be happy about, considering how this series has gone with cautions.
A refreshing sight after the past couple weeks, I will say that.
Yeah. I mean, even so, in Cup, maybe there were a lot of cautions, but there was still a lot of really good racing.
Yeah, I mean, racing product's been great throughout this entire season, cautions or not. And to see great racing like this without yellows is good, a good sight, a good change of pace.
I think what I'm curious about now is, when do cars start to come to pit road? When do we see those first takers? Oh yeah, they're going real slow in the corners now. You can just hear it. Here comes Kathy Ableton Perez. That 25 car is on a roll right now in the late run here. Remember, she did pretty good in the late run at Aguascalientes too, but that was actually because she did the smart thing of pitting for tires towards the end of the race, and she actually drove through almost a lap on the whole field.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about Aguascalientes, you go back to the driver of that 4-car, Cassidy Jones. She's got, despite not having, the best results this season, she has 2 second-place finishes. One of those came at...
What was it, Michigan?
Am I right? No, I was at Michigan. Sorry, I was one row off. Still a...
I mean, to be fair, Michigan's still a pretty decent tire wear track, and Michigan's still has a pretty decently strong amount of tire wear.
Yeah, a different size track, but you can definitely take some of the stuff that you can use at Michigan, including that multi-groove racing with the tire wear, and apply that to Chicagoland Speedway.
You know who's been the fastest car on the track lately? It has been Freya von Lundqvist in that 42. She has actually caught up to third place Overman as well now, so the 42 is making moves, and she is climbing through the field.
Yeah, she's looked really strong in this long run so far, and shows no signs of slowing down, so...
Another car strong in the long run. Another car strong in the long run right now. Deborah Williams in that 55 car. Looks like there's a car on pit lane. 66 of Starchev. I think we might see some takers pretty soon here. Starchev was pretty pretty far back, so Starchev had nothing really to lose. Von Lundqvist.
Von Lundqvist clear on the inside. Maybe
not clear, but she's gonna have a bit of a benefit. And what she can do is she can try and pull a slide job. Now she'll get clear of Oberman.
She is clear. That'll give the 42 P3. 4 seconds behind the leader, but still a great climb of position for Bray Von Lundqvist on this first run.
Yeah. Well, especially considering, Von Lundquist started pretty decently far back. She started back in 17th, and she's now up to 3rd on the podium right now. There's for if you're looking for the other competitors in the chase for the money, they're pretty much all around here. That's where Anderson, Reynolds, and Brousseau are. And here's where Jackie Kennedy is, just outside the top 10. Cassidy Jones in 10th. And Jones has run pretty good at the 1.5 miles. This race is going to have a lot of comers and goers, but the other thing that we're going to see about this race is that those comers and goers are really going to be affected by the pit cycles.
Yeah, I mean, that's a given at any of these tire wear tracks. As soon as one car hits the pits and comes out, especially if they go early, you can see the speed differences. We see the 66 try and get past Lexi Rockwood here.
66.
The difference in speed.
66 had a bit of an extended stay on pit road, so that's why she's this far back. She's actually I believe 2 laps down right now.
2 laps down, but I mean you can just see the extent that those fresh tires really improve how fast the car is as she is making headway on that battle for the 3rd position.
And now that's where tire wear is gonna. This is where the tires really kick in, and now you're gonna see Starchev try to use the outside, or cross over the 42. Actually, that works too, I suppose. You can just drive it so much deeper on those fresh tires. And how much of these cars, with these cars now seeing that 66 flying by.
How long until they hit the pits?
She ran almost a second faster than these two at the front. Meanwhile, we got more fighting back here.
Coming up on 60 laps into this race. Still a 3-stop race. You wonder, maybe these drivers are trying to stretch it as far as they possibly can to turn this into a 2-stopper.
Well, we do know that they have about a 65 to 67 lap fuel window here.
Whew. 65 laps. That would. Hang on, let me do the math.
That would put them just short of. That would put them just short of making it on 2 stops. And the 66 has unlapped herself already once.
Yeah, to do it on 2 stops, you'd need to go that full 67 laps. That would take you to 201 laps of fuel total.
And I'm not sure many of these cars want to do that. I think you want to go. I think you want to try and pit it at 60. I'm surprised that they've stayed out this long. Ani Starchev won back at Michigan. It was her first start, and that's pretty much been all the glory she's had this season. Really has not had much else to speak of this year. Starchev has. Quinn slowly starting to slide back a little bit. You see Chistina has gotten the lead. Kind of driven away with it.
60 laps into this race now. We're in that window that you had mentioned where the drivers should hopefully want to start pitting, but doesn't look like anyone's taking just yet. We'll see who the first domino to fall in this pit cycle will be. They're still battling for position on the bottom half of this top 10.
How about Madison Estrada trying to go through the middle of these two?
She's holding position steady right now. We'll see where she ends up on the front straightaway. Clear
of both of them.
Both of them.
3-wide middle worked out. That's kind of surprising.
And that puts her in the top 10.
Yeah, that puts Estrada in 10th. But so far, it's been all green flag racing here from Chicagoland. 61 laps under the green flag. 61 laps complete in this race. I can't imagine we'll see that streak go the whole race, but I would be pretty happy with it if it did.
Battling still happening back here at the back of the top 10. Leaders not pitting yet.
I think they're just trying to. I think they may be trying to stretch this window to be the 55.
Well,
First taker is Williams.
Williams in after 63 laps complete. Let's see how long it takes for everybody else to come in.
I don't see anybody else coming in with her, so that's interesting. 6 and the 82 are still staying out.
Reminder to stretch it to a 2-stop race as opposed to a 3-stop strategy. The team and driver would have to stretch it to lap 67 for the first stop.
Yeah.
And then it's a matter of packing the car with literally as much fuel as it can physically take.
Yep.
To get them to the end of the race. Lap 66 starting now for the leaders.
42's in. I believe the 93 is in as well. So the top two still staying out. Von Lundquist.
Is the 78.
Rockwood's going to be coming in here. Estrada, Jones, and Willis Callaway are all in. And now the pit cycle truly begins.
Here's the important lap. If the leaders stay out, they are trying to make it on that 2-stop strategy.
No, they're both coming in.
They're both coming in, so just short of a potential 2-stop race. If we do get a yellow, that might end up changing. But
That would put them, if they go 66 laps every run, that would put them 2 laps short. 7 cars staying out. Reina Munoz.
yeah, if we go green the entire way and we stay with this pattern, this turns into a fuel mileage race, and then things really get interesting.
Yeah. Let's see where everyone goes pit crew wise. See how the pit stops go here as we watch our 2 leaders try and race each other off pit road. The 6 car got blocked in a little bit by the 22.
And there's the 82 side by side off of the pit road. It looks like it was Quentin.
I believe it was Quentin, but reminder that they still have to. They're still getting up to speed, and they're side by side coming off the pit road. Justina has the outside lane, which just has a little more grip on the apron. And have a look at this 66, who I think may actually be up to 2nd place because of this, because she pitted way early. There's the rest of the field coming out of pit road.
She is.
Rousseau actually ran an extra lap.
She is in that provisional 2nd place spot right now, looking for what would end up being the lead. Obviously, about 10, 15 laps off cycle.
Yeah. But I feel like most of these cars can't really make it.
Yeah, so in the long run, she ends up in pretty much the same position as everybody else. Maybe even in a better spot because she'll be up to speed while everybody else is, coming off a pit lane with 2 laps to go.
Bridget Brosseau stayed out the longest. She actually made it 68 laps before coming down pit road, but I think she may have actually ran out of fuel.
Yeah, that car.
No, she actually did make it that long on fuel.
She did make it. That puts her in a position with an extra lap to spare to
Yeah.
to make it on 2 stops. This would get her to about lap. Where would that get her lap?
She can run 68 every time. That would put her at 136. Interesting development here as well is that the 55 Deborah Williams, remember she pitted the earliest of everyone? She's up here. She's up in 4th place now, and she's actually closing in on these on the battle for second right now.
Yeah, a pit stop every 68 laps would get her to lap 204 on 3 runs, which is a little bit extra fuel.
Yeah.
Compared to 67 laps getting you to lap 201.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need the extra fuel, because keep in mind, we don't run overtimes here, but...
Yeah, it's just the idea of potentially, if they don't fill the tank up exactly to the brim on that second stop, she has at least, she has a bit of a cushion to not run out of fuel with a lap or 2 to go.
Thing about this as well is that pitting early really helped Deborah Williams. She's up to 3rd. She was only around 7th or 8th before the pit cycle, and she's up to 3rd, and maybe might be looking at battling for the lead here.
It's a really interesting strategy scenario. The early pitter ends up with better position once the pit cycle's over, but if you pit late, you end up in a situation where you might have to pit one less time than everybody else in the field.
And also you got better tires on the run.
Yeah, risk versus reward.
Something we've seen many a times, especially at this track. This track really lends itself not only to fuel mileage racing, but also to seeing how the tire wear plays itself out.
It's that classic term, short-term gain, long-term loss. Is that risk worth it when it comes down to the end of the race? We'll see how this strategy plays out. If we go green all the way, that is. Knocking on wood, making sure that we don't jinx it, as we've gone 75 laps. 74, coming up on 75 laps.
Without a caution flag. Without a caution flag, we haven't even really had a mechanical failure to report on yet, so...
No, the only peculiar thing to happen was that 66's early pit stop, and she's still up here running on pace.
Yeah. She benefited quite a bit from that. Cassidy Jones has gotten by Madison Estrada to get into the top 10. She's up in the 10th spot. You had a fight. There was a fight right here between Kennedy and Wilson. But now it's pretty calm as Quinn is starting to close in on Chestina here for the race lead.
Talked about that early pit stop that Starchev made. We're getting to about 10 laps since the pit cycle, which is about the gap she had on the field in terms of coming into the pits. When we get down to the end of the race, she's still sitting in 4th position with decent pace. That early pit stop could end up paying off big time once we get down to the end of this thing.
I think most of these cars can't make it on fuel if we go green all the way. Starchev now trying to hold off Oberman and Von Lundquist as Zoe Quinn has taken the lead from Chestina. Oh, and we got a car blowing up. It's Maya Sheldeby.
Just when we were talking about those mechanical issues, they rear their ugly head. As Sheldeby's on pit road, that smoke looks like it's going to be the end of her day. We'll see if we can get an update on that when possible.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do there. It looks like they're going to try to fix it, but we'll see. We'll catch up on that. Quentin leads the way now as Chistina trails. Williams is third. There's the fight for fourth between Oberman and Starchev. And Oberman looks like she will get clear of Starchev here. Oh no, Starchev fights back on the top side.
Tries the top. She's going to get the run on the back straightaway, so we'll see. And she's got help from Freya von Lundqvist behind her.
It's been between Quentin and Chistina so far.
Shastina's been
Still
really
trying
good
to
at getting... Sorry, I was going to say, Shastina's been really good getting that run into turn 3. She's just got to capitalize on it on the front stretch, and she might be able to take that lead back. She tries to shift high. Ends up losing a
She
bit
can
of
get
ground,
to the
but
outside. If she can get to the outside of the 82, I think that's where she'll be strong, because this 6 car has been really strong on the outside.
Yeah, we saw it work earlier. It looks like she might be trying it here.
5 car
falling
is
back in
out
line.
of the race. Ellie, you got any information on Shelby?
Yeah, so it looks like a issue with her piston in the engine ended up causing major issues and just had some kind of malfunction, which is what took her out.
An unfortunate end of the race for Maya Shelby. And I mean, as well for Shelby, she had a great start to her Continental career, 5 top 10s in 6 races, but ever since after 5 flags, she has not really had that luck. 26th, 25th, and now she'll finish dead last here at Chicagoland. Von Lundqvist has gotten around Oberman for 4th. And now Von Lundqvist is
Trying to
closing
make
on
a charge.
Williams. To try to take 3rd away.
Making that high lane work. She's going to get clear off the corner.
Yeah, really good run off the corner. And Oberman's going to follow.
Well, those
Cassidy-
top 2 have been strong all day. Freya's going to be a sleeper pick as we get late into the going here. I think that 42 looks really fast.
I feel like Freya's always a sleeper pick.
I feel like that's something we've brought up at pretty much every time I've been in the booth here for a Continental race. She is our where did she come from driver. Always starts in the mid pack and then finds her way up at the front here, especially on these intermediates.
Zoe Quinton, Mila Chistina fighting for the lead. There's Oberman, Von Lundqvist.
Here comes Williams on the outside now.
Deborah Williams trying to fight back as Oberman's taking that 3rd spot back. As here comes Chistina looking for the lead again.
Dives to the inside into turn 1.
Tried the
tries
dive
check
to the
out
inside, but
big-
she couldn't hang on to it. Rockwood closing on Starchev here as well. Looks like the 78's going to try to use the high lane to get a run on Starchev. Jackie
78
Kennedy
though.
fighting with Cassidy Jones.
78 showing speed at an intermediate. Usually if we see that card qualifying at all, it's at the short tracks. So solid
Yeah.
run for Lexi Rockwood thus far.
Rockwood's last top 10 came at Saint Eustache. So, probably a pretty welcome sight for everyone at the Project Horizon camp. As here comes Chistina looking to the outside on Quentin.
Ends up falling back in line. Gets a solid run in turn 3. Maybe going to have a run on the front straightaway. We'll see where she comes out of turn 4 here. Goes to the inside. They're going to be side by side coming to the line. Nope. 82's going to throw the block.
82 through the block. 6 car is going to look to the inside, but can't do anything. Not quite yet, anyways. Jennifer Wilson got up into the top 10 with an early stop, but she's dropped out now as Karina Willis-Callaway's moved up to 10th. Bridget Brosseau is about 6 seconds back of the rest of the field, by the way. So, for Brosseau, she's just kind of trying to... I think she's just trying to fuel game this race. I don't think she's trying to do anything else.
Oh, as we see, looks like a bit of contact between the two, and I think that was the 96 back there.
That was Ramos and Oswell, yeah. There's the pole sitter, Ashley Johnson. She's fallen back to 23rd. So, being the pole sitter was about the only good thing that's happened for Johnson this weekend.
3-car battle for the 3rd position.
Von Lundquist tried to go up to take it away from Oberman on the top side, but Oberman held her off. And that's the thing, is that we're seeing both, both the top and the middle and the bottom really work well for passing. There's not really a preferred lane. You can pass anywhere on this track as long as you have momentum. Starchev has now dropped out of the top 10, so now the tire is really starting to kick in on the 66 now, I think. This is where the 15-lap advantage turns into a disadvantage. Because I think the tires fall off a lot more later in the run. See Karina making a move on Jackie Kennedy. Christina sits about a second back of Quinton. There's Cassidy Jones and Madison Estrada fighting for 10th. Lexi Rockwood now trying to hold off Karina Willis-Callaway, and the 99's looking really fast right now. Karina's really making up a lot of ground.
Not sure what adjustments that team made on pit road, but it's worked, and Karina's been on a tear on this most recent run.
Right now trying to get around Rockwood. I think if you're one of those cars that made it to lap 67, that's what you're looking for. I think you got to start planning for this race to be going green the whole way.
I wouldn't do that just yet. It's only lap 94. We're about 6 laps away from halfway, and we know how that usually goes here. So
that's a good point.
Once we get past that, if we're still green, then you can start planning for it to go all the way. But we got to make it to that halfway point first.
I forgot that the
inside of Lexi Rockwood here.
I forgot that the mid-race report is just our guaranteed caution segment, pretty much.
Essentially a stage break at this point.
Willis-Callaway trying to get clear of Rockwood here. She will do it. Finally gets by. Alright, Rockwood fights back on the high side, though. And you got Cassidy Jones making her way up through here as well. Again, top 5 qualify next week for the Chase for the Money segment at Echo Energy International Speedway, the brand new track in BC. 3/4 mile short track. Fight for 3rd place is taken hold again. Here comes Von Lundquist on Oberman. It kind of seems like going into the battles that it seems like the car that kind of makes the move has the advantage, whereas the car that's trying to defend is the one that that tends to lose out.
So the 93 try and scoop some of the air off of the
42
left side of that 42 in turn 3. try and get the run on the outside. She's going to try it again in 1 and 2 here.
Lundqvist is doing a really good job. They're both doing a really good job. This is a good battle for third position right now. But Orun will stay clear as she really dived into the corner there. How about Alice Hageman in the 81? She's come out of nowhere. She's looking at taking hold in the top 10 right now. Same for Ableton Perez. There's Jones. There's Willis Callaway. And Tristina's closed up to Quinton. And about lap 135, about lap 130 to 130 to 140 is when we expect that next stop. That's when that window really opens up. As wow, that was all over the place off the corner there.
Yeah, we're looking around laps 130 to 136, depending on when they pitted on that first cycle. Obviously, 66 going to be off cycle, so we're going to see her pit about 10-ish laps before everybody else. But you pitted on lap 65, it's lap 130, and then that continues to go up. 132, 134, and then 136 for the driver that pitted on lap 68.
Yeah. That, of course, being Bridget Brousseau in the 46 car. We see the fight for third take shape once again as we have passed the halfway point in this race. And we've done it without having a single yellow flag. See Jones fighting with Willis Callaway and Hageman. Well, this one's gone by pretty quickly, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it has. I'm used to shorter races when I've got my own running in the simulation. So I saw the 200 laps and thought it was going to be a long one tonight, and here we are, 102 laps in, and it's gone by in a flash. Definitely helps that we've been green this whole time, but
we only just hit 1 hour on the clock, and keep in mind that that 1 hour also includes the first 5 minutes where they're sitting on the apron, not the apron, the backstretch.
yeah, so not a lot of time passed in the race, but plenty of time left race-wise to change positions, and obviously with that looming pit strategy situation, there's a lot to look forward to in this second half of the race.
And I think a great group that will have some interesting insight on the pit strategy here will be our FanDuel Fan Studio here, as we get set to bring you the mid-race report here. Zoe Quinton leads, Mila Chistina, Oberman, Von Lundqvist, and Williams, your top 5. We're going to take you down to Rush and Ellie in the FanDuel Fan Studio for probably the quickest they've gotten to see a mid-race report in this season. All right, take it away, you two.
Yep, all green to start the race here at Chicagoland Speedway. We're watching right now here the battle for 6th place from Lexi Rockwood all the way down to, it looks like, Kathy Ableton Perez in 12th, I think. So these are all the cars kind of at the edge of the top 10 fighting each other. The green flag pit stop cycle obviously creating big splits in the field here, because these guys here are 4 seconds behind the 3-car battle for third, and a further 4 seconds out from the top 2 running for the race lead right now. We'll head over to those top 2 right now. Quinton and Tristina have broken away from the pack here, running well ahead of everybody. They've been trading the lead back and forth a few times, but it looks like Quinton has consolidated the lead on her side for now. We're in the middle of the pretty much kind of in the middle, slap bang in the middle of the pit cycle right now. I would say about 30 or so laps, 40 or so laps. Yeah. about 30 to 40 or so laps after our last pit stop, we did see one early taker, that being the 66 of Ani Starchev. Well, look to see where she is now. Obviously, drop back a little bit. There she is, here in kind of the bottom of the mid pack. She came in around lap 50. Everyone else came in the 60s. At the very least, so she came in and took a massive undercut. Didn't quite work out track position-wise, but we did see, we have seen the undercut work out for some of these drivers. Actually, we'll go to one of the drivers that it worked out for. The 55 of Deborah Williams was one of the first takers in that main wave of drivers, and propelled herself up to 5th place here, just within sight of these of the 42 and 93's fight for 3rd place here. Although now I think her tires are definitely starting to fade. We mentioned tire strategy and wear management being an important part of the race here at Chicagoland Speedway. It's definitely looked like that right now. Taking a look at Williams' pace, she's running 2 seconds off ultimate pace right now, whereas these guys are still got a few extra tenths in their tank right now, tire-wise. So not too big of a difference, but I think enough of a difference maybe to start forming gaps, I think.
Yeah, there's enough of a difference of tire wear here where you're going to start to slow up and you're not going to be able to have as much pace as some of the other cars. And I think undercutting worked for some of the drivers, but not for all of them. And it's been working for the 55 car, but she might have to pit again sooner than the rest of the entire field of drivers here. Which, I mean, it could benefit her, but it could also...
Looking back now, the 6 has taken the lead from the 82. Go ahead.
Wow. It could also end up hurting her towards the end of the race, I think.
Yeah.
Depending on
how maybe the fuel stacks up. I mean, the 55, for what it's worth, has a decent gap on that 6th onwards pack. Justina looking... Let's see how Justina took the lead here side by side. She found herself on the outside of 3 and 4, been a popular place to overtake here for position. I think we saw Justina the 6th car do this not earlier on in the race as well. Looks like that outside in 3 and 4. We mentioned this track being turning into a multi-groove circuit with the work being done on the racing surface here. Looks like the outside has definitely the outside is still has a bit of an advantage, but it is definitely a lot closer than what we've seen in other Chicagoland stock car races here. So definitely using both lanes over the course of the run seems to be the way to go here.
Yeah, the bottom lane isn't too weak here at all, and the top lane it's been pretty useful as well. It's kind of been very balanced. The kind of whole bottom, middle, and top lanes. They've all kind of had their own use here, and it hasn't been too one-sided one way or the other. It's been pretty interesting to
40
watch.
car of Laura Sundale coming in. Looks like that's a little bit early. It's a little bit early. That might be at least slightly unscheduled here as we watch. I mean, we were watching the 6 and 82. They're taking very different lanes. It's like the 82 is still trying the inside, while the 6 is more or less comfortable using that outside on the backstretch. As she is starting to pull away a little bit. The 42 is staying steady. We'll see what the gap is this time, but slowly, I think, picking away at that gap over the last few seconds as it goes back up to 4.89 now.
Topic of the 42, she's been running great this race.
Yeah, Freya von Lundqvist was typically very strong on these intermediate racetracks. I think Liam in the booth mentioned that the 42's specialty, that the driver of the 42, her specialty is basically moving up from seemingly impossible places on the racetrack to just... Oh, speaking of, there's a caution. The 22 is stopped on track. There it is. I think that was mechanical related, as I saw the 22 was stopped in the middle of the track. That might have been a mechanical problem that snowballed into a caution there. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, wow. We got
there's the obligatory caution. We'll see what happened there, but it looked like I suspect the 22 had an engine problem or something like that that forced her to stop in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah.
And that might have collected a few extra cars that were just too close there. As we'll get our second pit cycle here on lap 116 of 200. Everybody coming in. 40 was already came in earlier. 2 laps down.
I mean,
You'll get one of those laps back. Yeah.
I think it's pretty. I think it's kind of like massive that we've had 116 laps without a caution. I think that's really big, and now we finally just got one now, and then it's been really It's been really nice to see us not have like a caution fest.
Yeah, I mean, typically here at Chicagoland, we do expect at least one early caution to happen, so the fact that that didn't happen was definitely a blessing. We'll see now that we've had a caution here. Well, I guess we'll just have to see what happens here. Good jump by the 55. Both the 6 and the 42 to jump up to second.
She just got a really good start.
42 looks like we'll take third, just ahead of the 6, I believe. Sundale here at the front. Yeah, 82, 40, 55, and I think it'll be the 42 and the 6. I couldn't tell who was 5th there, but it might have been the, did you get a replay here of Naomi Davenport and the 22 Circle K Honda Accord? There it is, there it is. That's exactly what I thought happened. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Vicious hit there. That was her teammate Rachel Ramos in the 2 car.
Damn.
Took a tumble, and came to a stop there. Yeah, that's what I feared happened. If you have some sort of mechanical failure heading into one of the turns, that might cause issues.
Yeah.
That might cause issues. That caused issues with a lot of speedway tracks. I think Kansas might be the most infamous of all of these for causing problems with when cars had mechanical problems. But Chicagoland does tend to have its fair share of incidents caused by mechanical issues like that. So it seems to be what happened. We saw the smoke coming out of the 22 car, and obviously with the obviously the 7 had almost no time to react to that.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a chain reaction to that.
I'm hearing from fans of Davenport that Davin Bros, it's over. They're very upset by what happened.
Now, looking at the top 5, Alice Hageman with a good jump. Look at her there in 5th place. I'm not sure what happened to Oberman. Oberman dropped well behind. Lost a lot of spots. Dropped all the way down outside the top 10 to 11th. Slow stop for that 93 team. A bit uncharacteristic for that team. They're pretty well known for their quick pit stops and good strategies. That's the way that she's won those 3 races this season. So the 46 heads out with no front end for some reason. I'm not sure what happened there. Someone wrecked. I think someone may have wrecked under caution or something like that.
Yeah, probably. I would not be surprised.
But yeah, we'll take this. What do you call it? This caution interlude to talk about what we're looking forward to for the rest of the race. It looks like we're probably gonna have one more stop to the end here. This is gonna be an 81 lap run. We'll go green in lap 120. So that should be one stop between now and the end of the race. We'll see what the teams will cook up here, because there's a lot of ways you can handle this. You could obviously just come in about 60 laps in and try to run 20 laps at the end. You could try to pull off the Starchiev strategy and try to come in about 40 to 50 laps in and run the rest of the race like that. You would effectively be splitting your runs into 40 or so, into 40 lap runs. That might be something to look at here. But the important thing right now is to get a good jump on that restart. We saw the 82 do really well on the initial start from second place.
Yeah.
Using the outside lane to her advantage, taking the lead from that, and she hasn't looked back. She really hasn't looked back ever since.
Yeah,
the 82's been one of the fastest cars all day.
Yeah, she's had a great start, and she's been in front of everyone pretty much the entire time, other than Mila Justina. She's been it's practically been her like partner in, being in front of everybody.
Yeah. Green flag is out. We're back underway here at Chicagoland, and a good jump by the 55 of Deborah Williams. Oh, look to the inside and the outside immediately, but but it's going to be Freya von Lundquist in the 42 that might get the better of her. 55 looking to clear. Look at the 6 of Justina. Here comes the 55 back on the outside with help from Alice Hageman. 3 wide into 3. All behind Quinton. Quinton doing a good job of holding everyone off. And Williams gets shuffled way out back. Almost 4 wide. Look out for Lexi Rockwood there in the 78. Looking to make an impression side by side now. Von Lundquist on the inside line. Quinton on the outside. 42 had the lead last time out. That'll be a lap led for her. Quinton using that outside line once again to her advantage. You can see where in the turns exactly the inside and outside have advantages. Definitely looks like on exit the outside line, on the exit of 2, the outside line is definitely the place to be. We saw the 82 and 81 there using that to full advantage as they take first and second place at the end of lap 121. Look out for Kathy Ableton Perez though. Good restart for that 25 car. Looking out, trying to pass the 6 of Justina for 5th place. As we, looks like a clean restart for everyone. Good work by Quinton to hold off all of the challenges there. Looks like Deborah Williams is going to be back up to 2nd. Hageman 3rd, Von Lundquist 4th, and they're going to be side by side, the 25 and 6 for 5th place. Now that we've gotten a bit of a green flag run now. Obviously, strategy is still going to play a major role in this race. So, Ellie, who are you looking at here for your fan picks possibly? Lots of cars to choose from, especially now that everyone's bunched up together.
Right now, I've been really watching the 82 car, but the 55 looks really good as well. I've been really impressed with what she's been pulling off so far, but with how the 82 has been kind of handling the entire field, I have like a gut instinct to say that I think she's the one to do it.
Yeah, possibly so. As we watch Kathy Ableton Perez send it 3 wide into turn 3 for the lead. Talk about a bit of an outsider here. Ableton Perez with 1 win and 2 laps led, looking to lead lap number 3 in the season. Not gonna get it there, but very close. Half a tenth of a second, I should say, separating the top 3 that time around. My eyes right now are looking at the 78 of Lexi Rockwood. That's a pick from out of left field, I think. The 78 has been running well in this race. Was running in that second pack approximately, fighting for 6th place before we had this caution that bunched everyone up. She did a pretty good job holding cars off there, keeping at the front of that main pack. And now that things are all bunched up together and we're down to 1 pit stop to decide it all, I think that 78 might have something to look out for. they've looked quick already today, and that's 78 of Rockwood. Looks like the 78 of Rockwood has something special hooking up today. We'll see how the strategy plays out for them in Project Horizon Racing, but they're in a great spot to maybe take home another win this season with their 2nd team. Right, and with that, as we see Kathy Ableton Perez use the inside line to pass Deborah Williams there, looking to lead lap 3 of the season. We'll see if she holds off the 55 for long enough to lead that lap. We'll take things over back to the booth with Echo and Liam as they'll call the second half of this exciting Chicagoland race now. Over back to them for the rest of the race now.
Yeah, Liam, you got a pick there in the booth?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious pick for me that I've been looking at all race, I mentioned it even before we went to pre-race report, or mid-race report, and that is the 42 of Freya von Lundquist. She's dropping back right now, but she's shown really great speed in the long runs. If the team made the right adjustments on pit road here, I think she's a real threat to win this race once we get down to the end of it.
Well, then I'm going to take the 25 of Kathy Ableton Perez. Only 2 laps led this year, but she's already got a win, and she has been on fire this last little bit. This 25 car, I think, is going to be the one that takes it to victory lane. Kathy Ableton Perez, as she starts to pull away from the field here now.
Yeah, and as we see the battle heat up for 2nd place here, this is the closest the battle for 2nd's been all race long. That caution that funnily enough, did come out during the mid-race report, puts us right in position for another exciting finish. All that strategy talk we spent the first half of the race talking about got thrown out the window there, but...
Yeah, but you know what that's done is it's created an entirely new strategy talk, because now they had about 80 laps to the end of the race. You have to decide where you want to put that last stop, because no one can make it. You're about 10 to 15 laps short on fuel. You got to decide when you're going to come in, when you're going to come to pit road, and what you're going to do strategy-wise. And that could spread the window out quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that spreads the window out to about, 40 laps.
Yeah.
Because you could come in halfway through this run and try and run fresh tires the entire way through. You could try and split it, maybe do a 2-tire stop at the end of the race and pit as late as possible, because you're not going to be able to make it on 2 stops anymore. We know that's not a possibility because of the caution. So now it's a matter of when do you pit and how do you do it?
Pretty much, yeah. For a checkup on Charlie McCarron, she's actually sitting 25th right now, just trying to run her race right now. I'm kind of surprised that nobody took Justina for a fan pick, because she's run fast all race. She's been a car that's led quite a bit.
I think she's one of those cars that I've looked at. She's been fast, but she's in a position where I had a car that was just something I've been looking at since even before halfway, and I think, but she's one of those cars that we could have totally picked for the FanDuel fan picks. Another one I wanted to look at that's a bit further back right now is AWSCO in that 99 car. She's been quick all day. She's shown the long run speed. If she can get out of that sort of mid-pack situation, I think she could get up front here.
2 points I want to make. First of all 4 Inverness racing cars are right here. They're all right next to each other in order. They're 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th right now. Second of all, we have a new leader in the chase for the money. It's Jackie Kennedy in the 12 car. She's actually up to 3rd place right now. She's taken that away from Zoe Quinton. And don't look now, but who else is closing in on the race up front is Cara Reynolds. She started way out in the back of the field, started back in 32nd. She's starting to slowly make her way up towards the top 10. And we have a... we have a pretty interesting... little race coming up here. Especially for the chase for the money here.
We just saw Cassidy Jones try to move on the inside. Alexi Rockwood didn't work. She's dropped back and snap out and will put the 81 and 82. Gets passed on the outside by the 81 there.
By the way, talk about Vinnie Schultz. She kind of didn't really have a lot going for her this race until just a bit ago, and now she's up into the top 10. And you're also seeing as well another driver that's kind of just made her way up into the top 10 now is Takamoto Aya in the 11 car. We got a battle for second. Here comes Jackie Kennedy trying to take the spot from Deborah Williams. And Kennedy yet to win this season, but now she's looking at potentially having 2 consecutive wins on the chase for the money. But Williams fights back on the inside.
You make a terrible joke here. For it being one of those toppings that's illegal on hot dogs in the Chicago area, catching up has been the name of the game for the drivers in the mid pack here. As they've all been making runs towards the front of the field. Yeah, that was about as bad as a hot dog on ketchup in this.
A hot dog on ketchup?
I'm sorry. A ketchup on a hot dog in Chicago. I believe it's actually written into Chicago law that you can't do that. So it was a reference I needed to make.
I mean, it's also written into my law because I don't like ketchup on hot dogs.
I had a whole debate about that at a NASCAR race this year. I got a free hat out of it, so.
I like cheese on a hot dog, honestly. You get me there? I like a little cheese dog, you know.
Yeah, I got you. That's the Sonic fandom creeping through the chili dogs.
I said cheese, not chili.
Well, no, but I mean, you put cheese on a chili dog.
Oh, fair enough.
We've hit peak baseball commentary here, folks, as we are 140 laps into this race, 139 laps. I should
We're
say,
hitting
sorry,
baseball
into this
commentary as the race is getting interesting, too. That's the thing. You see the 12 and the 55 are both catching up to the 25 right now, as they've caught the lap car of Lynn Oswell. Who I believe Oswell might have been one of the cars that was run into under the pit cycle, as they are going all over the place here.
3 wide. 2 of them for second, 1 of them just staying alive here, as the Bee Gees once sang.
Where are the Bee Gees from? They
Good
from
question.
Chicago? No, they're from Britain.
I think everybody who was famous in the 60s was from Britain.
I don't think Elvis was from Britain.
No, but he was also famous in the 50s, so...
I mean, fair enough, I guess. Hey, Jackie Kennedy took second there. She's dropped back to third again. Deborah Williams took that back from her as they went side by side with the lap car. Lexi Rockwood's in fifth. There's Cassidy Jones sitting sixth. Zoe Quinn seventh. There's all of the Inverness. If you're Freya von Lundquist, you gotta be scared. You got entirely Inverness racing cars all around you, everywhere right now. And in fact, Shishkin is actually the lowest running Inverness racing car now.
A lot of Toyotas working together in the back half of this top 10.
Yeah. That's what, 5 in a row there?
Oh my god, yeah.
And then there's another one here in fourth with Alice Hageman. How about Lulu Connie sitting 14th? There's whatever's going on back here. That's Karina Willis-Callaway.
Karina Fitzmaurice, I see.
Willis-Callaway, Tombe Vaudrey,
Consider.
Fitzmaurice. Oh, there's a crash as Johnson gets into Moriyama. And Fitzmaurice is in it as well. And the caution is out.
If I had a nickel for every time this season that Isabella Fitzmaurice has spun in turn 3 as a result of us talking about her in the booth, I'd have 2 nickels.
Well, that pretty much takes the strategy out of it now. Because they're pretty much... They'll be good to the end here on fuel, I'm pretty sure.
That they will. Lap 136 was the sweet spot when we were talking about strategy in the first place. We're on lap 144. So everybody will be good on fuel as long as they fill up completely. And with a pit stop under caution, you'd be hard-pressed to not fill the car up completely. Everybody's going to hit pit road here to make sure that they make
I believe
it.
there was a spin on the front stretch as well.
Yeah, it looks like there was. We got smoke on the front straightaway.
Well, we'll see that. We'll catch that when we'll catch up to that when we get the chance to. But
and just as the halfway chaos that we predicted happened, we have our second caution of the day in this second half of the race. These races, both series AWSCO so far has really been a tale of two halves. You'd have the one calm half and the one chaotic half. We went caution free for about 120 laps here.
And how
in the span
about
of 20 more? We've got 2.
How about the 55? Deborah Williams has taken the lead off pit road. And now there's new second place in the Chase for the Money competitor. It's Cara Reynolds is starting to make her way up through. She's actually made it into the top 10. She, I believe, came out 10th off pit road. 96 of Oswald will be the free pass car. Well, let's see what happened. First of all, let's check out what happened here.
And it looks like Fitzmaurice just got a bit too hot into the corner, got into the back of the 24, and then that collected the 64 car as well.
Just taps the back of the 24.
It just offsets the car a little too much, and all 3 of them wash up into the outside wall. 64 car definitely getting the worst of it, and then on the front straightaway.
Trying to figure out what happened here on the front stretch.
Caution flag.
Oh, I see. That's what it is. The 46 runs into the 24. Trying to drive through the wreck. And the 24 is now on the apron, so the problems just keep getting worse for Johnson.
Full sitter. Problems on more problems, just stacking on each other. What went from a positive start to the day has turned into a bit of a nightmare in the late going of this thing.
Well, the leader is Williams. Moriyama will be waved around here because Moriyama's off the lead lap. Moriyama is technically at the tail end of the lead lap. Well, it's Williams, Ableton, Perez, Hageman, Kennedy, Jones, the top 5. Top 2, both of the top 2 have wins this season. That's Williams, who won back at Charlotte, which you were there for, Liam. And then Ableton Perez won just a couple weeks ago in Memphis.
But I was there for Charlotte. Yet another intermediate. I was also here for Las Vegas. I think I've only done intermediates in the Continental Series thus far.
Yeah, that is correct. You've been here for entirely 1.5 mile tracks.
I was on comms for a road course in the Cup Series, and then outside of the Clash, it's been a pair of triangles with Pocono and most recently the Euro Speedway Lausitz Ring.
Yeah.
But yeah,
hey, you want
intermediates here in Continental.
Yeah, you want to be back for Kansas and Continental?
I got a 4th date to fill. I may as well.
Another car on the apron, the 42 of Von Lundquist.
And that shakes things up big time. One of the fastest cars all day on the apron with an issue. We'll check that when we get a chance.
Well, the 24 and 42, both with issues.
24 managed to get it done while we were still under caution, but Freya Von Lundquist is going to be stuck on pit road as we go green. So a bad break for that Dollar Tree 42 car. Williams going to lead them to the restart zone. And we're going to restart here on lap 148 at Chicagoland. Just about 50 laps to go.
Look at Hageman. Great restart for the 81. Here comes the 25 looking at the bottom. And Williams not even going to maintain the lead off of turn 2. But here comes the 81 of Alice Hageman.
Alice Hageman chasing that 25 of Kathy Ableton Perez, who's led more laps today than she has all season long, looking for that 2nd win on the season.
Yeah, pretty absurd stat line right there. Here comes Jackie Kennedy in the 12 car, though.
Really big dive to the inside, couldn't get the right angle entering turn 1, has to check up. She's going to back up the entire inside line as we look at Hageman now with a huge run on the outside, going to try the inside into turn 3 here on the 25 car. 3 wide further back, that's for 4th position.
That's Jones trying to make it work up top. Ellie.
They're going to be side by side at the line. And Ellie, what do you got on those pit situations?
The 42 car ended up having the tire go down on her. And the same situation happened with the 24 car as well.
Well, nobody actually retired from that incident. Nobody actually retired from that, so
there you go. A bad caution break for you to be a driver with a 4 and a 2 in your number, as both of them ended up pitting for tires that went down. And the worst case, shockingly, was the car that didn't wreck to bring out the caution, as Freya Von Lundquist is now stuck, I believe, at least a lap down.
No, Von Lundquist... Oh, no, she is a lap down, you're right. Hey, look at Cassidy Jones. She's managed to make it up to 3rd, and she's actually closing in on 2nd now.
Carrying a lot of momentum off of turn 4 and down the front straightaway. She's going to be chasing down Alice Hageman in that 81 car. We'll see if she can maybe make a move. Probably at the end of this lap. She continues to run that middle lane.
Remember, Jones ran really well back in Michigan. That was really the last kind of big track that we ran in Continental. And Jones ran really well there. She ran really well last week in New Hampshire as well, but she's running really well here as well in Chicago. And there's no LaTanya Gray to put her in the wall this time, so that probably helps. Chase for the money race. Right here, there's where Kennedy is. Second in that is actually being battled for right now between Reynolds and Quinton. As Jones has caught up to Hageman. Chistina's up to 7th. She's looking for 6th on Takamoto Aya.
City Jones, 2 top 5s, only 5 top 10s all season long, sitting 35th in the points. She needs a good run and really needs a win if she wants to be in contention as we head late into this season.
Jones is up to 2nd now. Well, she's not quite up to 2nd yet, but she's going to battle Hageman for it.
Side by side of the line, I think Hageman's going to have it at the stripe. But
Hageman will have it at the stripe.
Lane.
Cassidy Jones looking for it on the outside.
Stays up top. Here she comes. That outside lane in 1 and 2 has been really strong all day. She's going to get a run on that curved back straightaway.
Just clear the 81 there. Hageman had to check up there to not run into the 4, and I think that actually helped Jones. Kathy Ableton Perez, fastest NordVPN fastest lap of the day, 29.901 for Ableton Perez. Oh, the 4 has a problem!
Oh!
She just got to 2nd, and the car has had some sort of issue. From 2nd place.
Doesn't look like an engine issue. We'll get an update when we can as she tries to limp it back to the pit lane. No caution thus far.
That checked up the 81 and 55 to the point where the 12 got by both of them. Ellie?
Ellie, what do you got on the 4 car?
Yeah, she's having a tire issue, which is what caused her to stop as soon as she hit 2nd place.
3rd straight tire issue. If anybody else has a 4 in their number, they might want to check their wheels immediately.
Well, the next car towards the first car right now with a 4 in its number is the 04 of Emily Tremblay-Vaudrey. Ableton Perez is now out front by 1.7 seconds. Here's Chistina trying to make a move on Deborah Williams, looking for 4th now. That 6 car has really picked it up in this run. She kind of dropped off in the last run, but she's picked it up this run, although she's currently fighting with Aya.
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about her not getting really picked in that mid-race FanDuel fan picks, I mentioned that she's had long run speed, and she's been up front today. And she's showing it yet again. Obviously, we had that caution just a few laps ago. And it's a separate run, but that car's gotten back dialed in. And she's going to try and make it back up to the front of this field.
Meanwhile, here's the fight back here. The 6 car has really dropped back a lot. I don't know what happened. We started talking about her, and she dropped back a ton. Battle here for 4th. There's Aya trying to take the spot from Williams. Izzy Oberman's back behind this. There's Cara Reynolds here as well. Aya got clear of Williams, so the 11 car is up to 4th spot. And again, if you're one of these cars that doesn't have a win, the 25, unless you're winning, the 25 winning is probably best case scenario. Because keep in mind, Ableton Perez already has a win.
Yeah, we've talked about her leading her season best amount of laps today, but that doesn't shy away from the fact that she does have a win. Led 1 lap in that win. We talked about it at the top of the program if you just tuned in. But a new winner is one of those things that these drivers don't want to see, and we're in line for another repeat winner in this race here.
Ableton Perez looking at potentially her 2nd win in just 3 weeks. Looking to go to victory lane in both Chicago and Memphis. They're fighting right here. Oberman's gotten by Deborah Williams. Hageman's still kind of pressuring Kennedy here. Reynolds trying to hold around the outside of any Schultz, as you got Izzy Oberman now fighting with her teammate Aya for the 4th position. Kennedy slowly closing on Ableton Perez.
Even with that, 1 1/3 second gap, this race far from over.
Oh, absolutely.
We hit lap 167 now. Plenty of time left. We've seen these multiple grooves cut 1.5 leads down to just half-second leads.
65. That's
65
LaTonya
on pit
Gray.
lane. Like she has a bit of damage on the side of that race car. Not sure if she's pitting to repair damage from hitting the wall or what.
That looks like that's what it could be. Kennedy's still trying to hold Hageman behind her right now.
That stretched the gap for the lead out to about 2 seconds now. Or coming up on it.
How about Justina gonna pass 5 cars in 1 lap here if she can keep the run on the top side?
Carry that momentum. Here she comes off at turn 4. Dead heat at the line with the 60 car, but she's going to stay up top in 1 and 2, and we know that corner is where the top lane's the strongest.
She actually went to the middle here. And now there's Ableton Perez, who's caught up to the lap car Moriyama. Moriyama took the wave around last yellow. She was involved in the accident. Looks like Ani Starchev in the 66 car is retired from the race.
Ellie, what do you got on the reason why the 66 is in the garage?
Well, we're hearing that the engine is having pretty catastrophic failure right now, and it looks like we just heard that it's a camshaft issue, so this is definitely going to take her out of the race.
Damn, and that was a good run, too, for that 66 team. They were on that sort of secondary strategy for the first half of the race, showed some speed throughout, and then right as we get to the late goings, out of the race. So, bad break there for that 66 team. Giving the lap car, the 12 and the 81. Now down to about 1.25 seconds from that 25 car.
Yeah, those two got through the lap car a lot quicker than Ableton Perez was able to. But now Hageman and Kennedy, they've been battling each other for a fair bit, so.
And it's quick as we got to halfway. We're at under 30 laps to go in this race. We're getting to the closing stages here.
Now Hageman's trying to take the spot away from Kennedy, and I think she'll get clear off the
Clear
corner.
right now, where the 12's got the run on the outside. They're still going to be side by side down the back straightaway. And it looks like the 12's going to try and carry that momentum again. In the middle of the corner,
Can't really
switches
do
the
it, though.
momentum back. They're still battling as we get to the front straight. An entire lap side by side for these two. And it was just 1/100th of a second separating those two.
Look at
at
how
the
much
line.
time it cost them.
Yeah, that cost them almost an entire second of time on the leader. And the battle continues.
That's for fourth. Kennedy held off. Kennedy held off Hageman for now. Here's Aya and Oberman fighting for fourth as the 11 going to hold off Oberman for now. Here comes Zoe Quinton. She's managed to get up to sixth. These cars are now 2.3 seconds back.
And in a race that is where a lot of the drivers we've talked about have had three names. Ableton Perez leading here by almost 2.5 seconds. Now almost 3.
81 finally clear of the 12, but we'll see if Kennedy fights back on the top side.
And
Looks
this
like
is
Kennedy's going to be able to get there.
With the distance now, this is exactly what Ableton Perez wants to see not in her mirror as they are continuing to lose time on that 25.
I think the other interesting thing here is the chase for the money race is back on, because if that 12 keeps fighting the 81, they keep running side by side, that's going to drag the 82 to the 12. And that bonus is going to be up for grabs.
Look at this cluster of cars on the outside of the top 10. They were 3 wide in the front straightaway last lap, and they're continuing to just jockey for position here.
Yeah.
Finally looking like they're going to dispose of the 64 for the lap car that's sort of clustered this group back together.
They've been kind of clustered together for a while. Down the back straightaway, Hageman tries to get underneath Kennedy, can't do it. Just Sheena right along with Williams here. Right now, it's Kathy Ableton Perez's race to lose. And I thought that might have been how she lost it, because the 65 got in her way. These two continue to fight for second. Ableton Perez cannot get clear of the lap car of LaTanya Gray.
Even then, unlike the famous band from Chicago, Ableton Perez is undisturbed at the front of this field.
Yeah, I got nothing.
As the 12 remains clear for second place, she's going to try and reel in that 25 car. But the tires are starting to wear out in this run.
Yeah, well, this is going to be a tire run. This is going to be a tire run to the end.
2.44 seconds, the gap from first to second.
Ableton Perez is really having trouble getting around Gray, and Gray is kind of damaged to the point where she doesn't have that straightaway speed, but what she does have is cornering speed, and that's what's really hurting Ableton Perez, is she can't get by Gray in the corners.
Do you remember that we're here on the 25th night of September, and the 25 is leading here in Chicago?
Okay, you need to just not.
It's another Chicago music reference, I'm sorry. After the Bee Gees thing, I looked up bands from Chicago to try and pull something out of the hat, and it hasn't worked thus far.
I can give you. I know of at least one band from Chicago. Well, the band is called Chicago.
That was the one I skipped over. The next two in the list are Earth, Wind, and Fire and Disturbed.
Ableton Perez finally clear of gray. And that might be the worst thing for Kennedy and Hageman, because now they've got a lap car that's somewhat fast now behind the 25. How about Karina up to 8th place? This group's starting to reel in the second and third battle as well, but right now it's absolutely no one is close to Ableton Perez.
It's 3 seconds now for Ableton Perez. A pretty comfortable gap here with 15 laps left in this race.
Here comes Quinton. Gonna try and take 5th, and I think she'll clear the 11 here. Yes, she will.
Started on the outside of that first row. She's been fast all day, but in a position where I don't think she'll be in a spot to win this race unless we get a late caution.
Yeah, but you know what she could do? She could be in the running for the chase for the money here, because that 12 car is trying to hold off the 81 right now.
Yeah, and those two have continued to slow each other down. This has allowed Quinton to gain that position back. She's fighting with the 11 right now, but if she can get to the 12 car, she's in contention to win that chase for the money, and it's in the top 5, so she would, I believe, carry over into next week's chase for the money, the finale of that series.
It's the last race of the chase for the money in Surrey, British Columbia. Ableton Perez now putting more lap cars in between her and the 12 and the 81.
Exactly what she needs to do. She may not have the experience leading the field, but she's driving like she does.
Well, this is the first time we've really seen her undisputed out front all season long, because at Nashville she only led 1 lap, and then at Memphis the only lap she led was the last lap where she just barely hung on, and actually the 51 managed to maintain the lead for managed to fight back for the lead on that last lap. Aya's really starting to slip back in the 11 car. She's just lost 6th place now to Karina Willis-Callaway.
Karina, another one of those cars that was sort of not mentioned in the mid-race report, but has been strong all day on the long runs. She's up here looking for a spot in the top 5.
Karina's been really good on these on the long runs today. Meanwhile, Izzy Oberman has actually caught up to the second place battle now.
As the 25 crosses the line this time for lap 190.
It is the Windows 11 to go here from Chicagoland. Ableton Perez trying to put the 46 a lap down, but she's having trouble.
A lot of lap cars between her and second place, but she's having trouble with the lap cars that are around her.
It's letting the 12 close up quite a bit, but now the 12 is going to be stuck in this lap traffic. Meanwhile, the fight for 5th is on. Here comes Karina. As here comes Hageman trying to get around Kennedy for second. See if she can get clear. And it looks like she will finally be clear for second. Hageman takes that spot back.
Second and a half now separating her from Ableton Perez. With
Yeah, but
less
not
than
much
10
time
laps
left.
to go.
Here comes Oberman in the 93, making an absolute dive down to the bottom.
Supra's gonna stick to the inside. She looks like she might be clear for... No, she's not clear for...
Not clear for
place
third yet.
12 has the advantage on the outside. 82 in a position where she might not have enough time to win that chase for the money.
And she's also trying to hold off the 99 for the spot in that next week. Oh, the 96 is pitting. She might be out of fuel. I thought there was a car pitting, but it was only a... It was actually just a lap car off the pace.
Speaking of lap cars, 81 getting held up big time by that 46. We saw the 25 of Ableton Perez have trouble with that car earlier. And in this late stage of the race, that might have just sealed it. 81's going to get around.
Ellie?
Yeah, it looks like that 96 car had an oil leak, which is what ended up happening, that brought that car to the pits.
Rough day gets worse for Oswell. Quinn getting stuck behind lap traffic here. That's going to let Karina Willis-Callaway try to take the spot away for good here from Quinton. But Ableton Perez is gone. She's out of here.
5 coming up on 4 laps to go.
This is the big battle. This is that battle for that final chase for the money spot next week in Surrey. Kennedy's caught back up to Hageman here.
Willis-Callaway not giving up on that last chase for the money spot. They got split up on the top and bottom lanes a second ago. They're back together. Karina's looking down low but doesn't have the room. She's going to try the inside in turn 1 here.
Really going to drive it deep. Can she get the momentum on exit? That's where it's key. Ableton Perez is gone. Still fighting for that spot. Oh, the 38s just came down pit road. The 12s come down pit road. Kennedy!
Kennedy gives up the chase for the money lead. On
She must not have had enough fuel.
Now you gotta wonder, does the 25 have enough fuel? She brings it out of turn 4.
She'll come to the white. 81 didn't make it.
That gives up second place to
82 couldn't make it.
Who leads the chase for the money now?
I think it's the 95 of Reynolds, white flag.
30, is it? No, it's the 35.
It is the 35.
White flag, 1 lap to go. Ableton Perez just needs to make it through 3 and 4. Does she have enough? She doesn't come to the pits.
Kathy Ableton Perez, second win of the year. She wins in Chicagoland.
And at the line for the chase for the money, it's going to be the
Krista
35.
Anderson, who hadn't been leading at all.
I don't think we even brought up Anderson all day long. Lexi Rockwood hits the pits on the final lap. She didn't have enough fuel to make it to the end. And a topsy-turvy finish to this race. Kathy Ableton Perez with enough fuel to hold on. But half the field, it seems like, drops out with 2 or less laps to go. What a finish.
Very strange ending to this race here in Chicagoland, but Kathy Ableton Perez.
Well, Echo, we got our fuel mileage finish.
Yeah. I'm guessing some of these cars just didn't fill up enough. Well, how'd you feel about that one, Liam? What'd you think of the race so far?
It was a great race. Clean for 100+ laps at the start. No cautions. We had, was it 2 or 3 cautions once we got to that halfway point, but we still got that fuel mileage finish. Exciting all the way to the end. Kathy Ableton Perez secures her 2nd win of the season, and having led more than 1 lap this time, I think that silences a lot of the critics about her 1st win.
Only
She
this
gets it done.
She's only the 2nd driver this year that scored multiple wins. And she did it in 3 weeks. She scored 2 wins in 3 weeks. Winner back in Memphis and again here in Chicagoland.
Yeah, if
As
anything will silence the doubters, it's a performance like that.
All right, well, we're going to take you down to the FanDuel Fan Studio for the post-race report here from Chicagoland. Very interesting finish to this one. Rashi and Ellie will have all the details for you. What do you two got?
Well, I didn't expect the fuel mileage ending, considering how many laps we had, but I think we'll take it. That I don't know what happened there. Surely these teams would have prepared for having enough fuel.
Yeah, that
But-
was something to watch.
Well, that didn't end up changing the race much, but except for the chase for the money, where inexplicably the top 2 in the chase for the money couldn't make it on fuel, and in a stroke of Luigi doing nothing, tier victories, Krista Anderson managed to walk away with the cash bonus. Good work by the 35 team there to get something. I don't think I can name a single thing Krista Anderson did in that race.
I don't think I could name a single thing either. I wasn't even thinking about her the entire race.
I mean, she was there. She did well enough to finish in the top 10. Which sometimes you just gotta be there in the end. I think that's pretty much everything you can say about the 35 and the 8. Good work by the 8 of Kate Summers to get a top 10 there.
I think good work by Karina Willis-Callaway. She ended up 3rd. That was
Willis Callaway taking full advantage of that to pull in 3rd place. Aya and Justina as well getting top 5. Vinny Schultz getting 6th place, starting way back in the field. Another good race for that. Another good race. Another good set of races for the Inverness Racing team. That's definitely a team that knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I was eyeing that 99 car like half the race. She was running really well.
Yeah. By the way, shoutouts to Michaela Kirkland in the 54 car. Finished 12th on her debut. Good race, good solid clean race from the driver of the 54. So good. Definitely a bit of a relief, I think, for that 54 team to have a nice stress-free race. And the 54 of Kirkland having a nice quiet, clean race to bring that car home in 12th. Good race for the 54. Definitely looking forward to seeing good things coming from the driver of that 54 car in the future. Talking about the rest of the race now, outside of the fuel strategy, the 25 of Kathy Ableton Perez just ran away with it. That's basically all I can say about it. 25 basically checked out of the race. I don't think anybody was really touching her on that final 40 or so lap run at the end. not really much to say. Not really much to say about. Not really. Not really much to say outside of that, really.
I mean, she ran great the entire race, and she was a clear deciding factor for who won, and it was her. She was the one who won. She was racing really competitively. Really, she got really clean air. It was great to watch her just take the race away pretty much from anybody else having a chance at winning. It was interesting stuff. I really liked the strategy and the whole fuel. Fuel issues towards the end was very weird.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what I was going to say about the top 5 was basically nullified by that. That's the problem. I had a lot to talk about the likes of Zoe Quinton Zoe Quinton and Alex Hageman, their races. Coming to the end of the race there, they ran quite. That battle looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Also, the 12 of Jackie Kennedy as well. Like those, those cars running in the top 5. I was gonna have a lot to talk about them in their races, which was why I'm frankly surprised that all of that happened at the end there. That was definitely something that I wasn't expecting to happen, but.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. They ran great the entire race. I was really enjoying the racing we were seeing out of those drivers, but whatever happened at the end kind of just made it all wishy-washy. But I mean, still good on them. They ran a great race. Just needed to lock down that fuel strategy more, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah. Speaking of good races, for some of these teams that they've had, I'd say, rougher seasons. I'd say. I want to talk about, of course, we mentioned the 99 of Karina Willis-Callaway. The rest of that team doing pretty well today as well. It's Madison Estrada in the 88, finishing in 8th position, and Lulu Connie in the 44, taking it home 14th as well. Good run of results for the RGB racing cars, I think. All finishing in the top 15 there. Pretty much another, a good set of clean races. Clean, quiet races as well. Them ran pretty well. Did well enough to run cleanly for the entirety of the race. Lulu Connie definitely been on a good stretch of results here. Been very competitive in these last few races. We saw her run in the top 10 for most of New Hampshire. We've seen her run in the top 10 in parts of this race as well. Definitely a good turnaround coming from the team. The organization at RGB Racing there. Definitely looks like they're starting to figure things out a little bit after quite a bit of a rough start to the season. Karina Willis-Callaway now moving up to 13th place in the points on the back of that 3rd place result. Really good stuff. That'll propel her right to the cut line battle, I think.
Wow.
With some of these other drivers.
Yeah, I think this race honestly it makes the especially the points part of the playoff a little bit more interesting.
Well, remember Jackie Kennedy was right on that cut line as well.
Yeah.
So that might. I say that I'm not sure if we'll have to see, I guess, but
we'll wait for the graphic.
We'll wait for the graphic. Right now, we're still kind of processing things. We're getting a few different. We're getting a stream of data here, so we're just kind of digesting it one by one right now.
Now Ableton Perez has 2 wins on her belt.
Yeah, Ableton Perez with those 2 wins. Been very quick in these last few weeks, obviously with those 2 wins, but finished top 20 basically every race since Sonia Stosh, which is a streak of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 races in a row where she's finished in the top 20. It's really picked up the pace since that 3rd place at Aguas Calientes. That result seems to have really fired her up, because you're seeing just how good that 25 team has been as of late, and looking like 2 very strong North Star cars right now. Getting ahead of steam here. 25 and 22. We've talked about the 22 over and over again, but the 25 looks like it is gaining some of that thunder as well.
Yeah, the 25 is gaining a lot of traction. I mean, really close to back-to-back wins. It hasn't been back-to-back, but very close almost to getting
2 wins in 3 weeks. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. And very unfortunate for the 22 with what happened. she's been running decent. She kind of picked up the pace again, but she also has been like just not bringing it home necessarily, I would say.
Yeah. I think another thing that'll make the cut line battle interesting is gonna be Takamoto Aya's result. She finished in 4th place, and you haven't talked too much about Aya. She's been on that cut line battle for most of the season, especially in the last few months. But that 11 team's been a little bit inconsistent as well. Grabbed a few top 5s here and there, but have had a few DNFs along the way as well. I think this 4th place is going to put her right back into that battle, potentially with Abby Buchanan and Karina Willis-Callaway, I think. I think that's going to be pretty much where we see her. Those drivers, as we now just get our cut line results. Shoki Moriyama still pretty comfortably in. Kennedy is 24 up, so still pretty comfortably in. Willis-Callaway
only 24 away.
24 away, yeah, 24 away. So about half a race. That's not exactly, and that's not a gap that's that's not a huge gap, to say the least. With this many races left to go, I think there's still plenty of time for things to change. And things have changed very quickly in some of these races. Aya 2 points behind Willis-Callaway. Buchanan 2 points behind Aya. Those 3 are definitely the ones to look out for in terms of challenging for that last spot in the playoffs. With maybe Summers and Anderson being the outside options if they really get ahead of steam here.
Yeah.
If they start finishing regularly in the top 5.
They'll have to really pick up the pace, though.
Yeah. But obviously, Schultz and Moriyama seem pretty safe right now. Both of them are still in the top 10 in points, so I think that's something to look out for. We do, in fact, have a tie at the front of the overall points. It's between Cara Reynolds and Vinnie Schultz. Reynolds will take that off her win at New Hampshire. Considering Schultz doesn't have a win yet, her best results are 2 second places this season. But yeah, you see, looking at the top 10 in points, you can definitely see where teams are starting to how do I say this? What the teams are starting to work on with. What am I talking about? Sorry. You can see what the patterns that are forming among the teams here.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, Cara Reynolds has been excellent all season, and then you see the 2 of those. And then you see the Toyota crew kind of with, what's that? Two of the Inverness and 2 of the Macmillan teams there. You see a couple of the Honda teams. I mean, the surprise package has definitely still been Hokkaido Velocity. Those two Honda teams being pretty much not only the best Honda team, but one of the better teams that's been in this series.
Yeah.
It's definitely been something. It's definitely been kind of surprising. We haven't seen that many 2-car teams do really well, and we haven't seen both cars at 2-car teams be that good. I think that's the real interesting surprise package.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that was overall a great race, and I think we got to see a lot of. I think this is like a preview of the last few races going into the playoffs. I think we're getting to that point where we're kind of seeing who's locked in, who isn't, and I think that was great.
And in terms of the racing product, this is going to be pretty important once we get to the playoffs. Lots of 1.5 mile tracks to look forward to there. So that's going to be these kinds of races are going to be the ones that are most important, I would think, for building up that kind of data set teams are going to be using to maximize their playoff performance. And with that, just a quick look at our next race here on ESN. That'll be the AWSCO Windows Cup Series. We mentioned, Booth mentioned that the Cup Series is heading over to Motegi for a race there on the earthquake damage, not inoperable, I should say, surface of the oval in the motorsports complex formerly known as Twin Ring Motegi. The 1.5 mile. It's 1.5 miles, but it's anything but a cookie cutter track. It might be one of the more bizarre track building projects we've seen in any form of motorsport, really. It'll be fun seeing the Cup Series race at what is effectively Darlington, kind of, but with less banking and also an extremely abrasive surface now because of the damage sustained from the earthquake. But it'll be really fun to see stock car racing, any form of racing really, any form of competitive racing really come back to the oval. And I'm really looking forward to that race coming up. Of course, stock car racing coming back here for the first time since I believe the late '90s with the one of the exhibition races that was held here, that was held in Japan with the Winston Cup, the Cup and West Series races, and that's gonna be something really exciting to look forward to. All right, with that, I think it's a good time to wrap up our post-race show. Now I've been Rasha. It's been great having Ellie here once again in the studio, and we'll hand things over now back to Echo for the closing statements now, as we bid farewell from from Chicago here on the conclusion of an exciting race here in the AWSCO Continental Series. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and a really fun race here from the Chicagoland Speedway. Next week, we're at the brand new Echo Energy International Speedway for the premier event at that track. We hope to see you there, and hopefully that one will be very exciting. We'll also be with you tomorrow evening from Motegi, Japan. It'll be daytime in Japan, but it won't be daytime when we cover it. So we'll be there in Motegi, Japan tomorrow night for the Coca-Cola 500. That one's going to be so fun with all the tire wear and all of that. That's going to go on down there. That's sure to be a great race. All right, thank you. If you joined this for watching, thank you for watching this race. If you enjoyed, I'm hoping you did. On behalf of Ellie, Russia, and Liam, I'm Echo. Thank you so much for watching the AWSCO Snapdragon Continental Series. I will see you all next